Now tell me, personally, would you listen to the CEO or the intern or the associate who has just joined 6 months ago?
नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल, आदाब। हे गाइस, वेलकम बैक। सो आज की वीडियो में मैं ये बात करना चाहता हूं दैट व्हाई इज हायरार्की इज सुपर क्रूशियल टू एनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इन द वर्ल्ड। बट बिफोर आई डू दैट, मैं उन लोगों का आर्ग्यूमेंट लूंगा जो अगेंस्ट द हायरार्की के। एंड इफ यू आर एनीवेयर एक्टिव ऑन द इंटरनेट, people are generally against or averse to hierarchies. So let's take a perspective and let's take their argument for the side. So people generally don't want to assume their control to someone else. सबसे बड़ी बात ये है, and especially when there are couple 5-6 people take control of your destiny. So I understand the resistance that comes कि ना लोग नहीं चाहते कि कोई और उनको कंट्रोल करे। तो ये सबसे पहला आर्ग्यूमेंट है। दूसरा आर्ग्यूमेंट ये है कि लेट्स से देयर आर 5 or 6 पीपल हु आर मेकिंग डिसीजंस एंड दोज डिसीजंस आर इंपैक्टिंग hundreds of people, and these hundreds of people have to be the one who execute that decision. तो the top triangle दिखता है ना आपको हायरार्की का, the triangle, वो ये क्लियरली कहता है कि there will be very few people at the top, then there will be middle management, and then there will be executives or associates जो सारा काम करेंगे. And people who are generally communist, they hate the idea that what, you and I are doing the same work, but हमारे बीच में equality क्यों नहीं है. And in this video, this is what we are going to dive deep into to understand why flat hierarchies do not work. Let me take an example here. सबसे पहले, let's say you are in a boardroom meeting. Let's say you are in any sort of meeting of an organization, and in there everyone is presenting their points, which is going to end up making a decision. Now tell me, personally, would you listen to the CEO or the intern or the associate who has just joined 6 months ago, or someone who has been at the VP level and has been part of the company for 10 years? Automatically your brain is going to side with the person who is a VP and has experience of 10 years, or maybe the CEO, right? So that's the point that I'm trying to make. People automatically make hierarchies within themselves. Now I will also take another example of a company that tried out the concept of flat hierarchy but failed poorly. That company is named Buffer. Its CEO, Leo Wildrich, he mentioned this in his blog post, saying why a flat hierarchy for Buffer did not work out and the problems associated with it. So, सबसे पहली बात, it's in our biological nature to actually form hierarchies or form some sort of structure together. So, उसके लिए ना मैं एक example लेता हूँ. Let's say you have 5 designers in a room, and you give them a task. Now the task can be like you have to create a creative design for a new marketing campaign. Maybe it's some kind of a video design that has to be put up on the website, or maybe it is a web design. ठीक है ना? तो उन 5 लोगों में से उन्हें बोल दिया, but they haven't been given clear instructions कि किस तरह से बनाना है, कहाँ से start करना है. So I believe among those 5, 1 or 2 people would start asking questions. They would take the responsibility of trying to understand कि ना क्या है, what is the directive that is given to us, and based on that, based on their experience, they will start asking questions from the person who has given them task. They will try to start and organize their work, because it's not because maybe they have experience. It is possible कि ना उनके पास experience भी हो, but asking questions, taking lead, टेकिंग रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी की हमें क्या देना है, हमें आउटकम क्या देना है. तो ये जो 2 लोग हैं ना जिन्होंने रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ली, द रेस्ट 3 डिजाइनर्स इन द रूम, एंड दो मे बी ईच ऑफ देम हैव सेम एक्सपीरियंस, द 3 वुड स्टार्ट फॉलोइंग दोस 2 जिन्होंने अथॉरिटी अज्यूम की. बिकॉज इट्स इन आवर बायोलॉजिकल नेचर, इट्स इन आवर इनहेरेंट डीएनए प्रोग्रामिंग जो है हमें स्ट्रक्चर में जो है ना घुसाती है. घुसाने से मेरा मतलब है कि हमें मोल्ड करती है. कि हम एक हायरार्की में जाएं. तो obviously these two people assumed control and they got some authority over the rest of the graphic designers who were also given the same job. तो ऐसे हायरार्की automatically generate हो जाती है. Second thing, so if anybody of you has read Nassim Taleb's Skin in the Game, the book specifically states that it's a concept of incentivizing and disincentivizing. Now, within an organization, if the incentives of each employee is connected with the incentives of company, the company is bound to grow. But it also says that everyone should have skin in the game. तो उसका क्या मतलब है कि अगर कंपनी को नुकसान होता है तो हर एम्प्लॉय को नुकसान होता है. And generally in every company this is not what happens. Yeah, maybe you got some, let's say there is a person who joined the company, he worked there for 2 years and because of him कुछ नुकसान हो गया. Let's say there was a loss of 2 crore in third quarter. उसके बाद ना that person would automatically leave the company. But the ones who are accountable for the growth of the company, the shareholders, the upper management, the CEO, they are the ones who actually end up facing the problem. और यहाँ पे जो है ना incentives aligned directly नहीं थे, उसका भी नुकसान होना चाहिए था. But the thing is, he just left the company. He was fired on the company. He did not have to bear the disincentives or the losses that was borne by the CEO or the upper management as much. तो ये पॉइंट बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है. इसलिए हायरार्कीज की नीड होती है. Some people have more skin in the game. Some people do not have skin in the game or maybe not as much skin in the game. ये तुम्हें बताएगा कि जो है ना तुम्हें किस डायरेक्शन में जाना है. लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल आपने बोला कंपनी में हर बंदा फाउंडर है तो हर बंदा सीईओ क्यों नहीं बन जाता. ओके, लेट्स टेक एन हाइपोथेटिकल एग्जांपल कि हर बंदा सीईओ क्यों नहीं बनता एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में. सो उसका आंसर है it would start affecting the pay scale of every employee because everyone would want to get the salary of the CEO, and sometimes CEOs either take the most salary or sometimes they take the least salary based on the skin in the game. Again, this same point comes again. तो तुम क्या सबको $100,000 की सैलरी दोगे या $1 million सैलरी दोगे? And it's just not feasible. The company would automatically get bankrupt within 2 years of timeline, no matter how much cash flows it has, if they start paying everyone equally within the organization. You are paid according to the contribution that you bring into the organization, and the people who are at the top have a responsibility of hundreds of employees below them. The head of team, like head of product management or head of project management, they have a responsibility to the team that is working below them and executing the tasks. Now you can say कि project manager क्यों नहीं जो है head बन जाता, and that's how companies often internally promote. But again, hierarchy still exists, and because heads or VP have more responsibility, that's why their contribution is also more, and that's why they are paid on a higher salary scale. If everyone is given same responsibility, it creates a pay scale challenge where employee disputes start to happen. Now, let me tell you about one thing. This is Price's law.
In the early 1960s, the father of information science, Derek DeSola Price, discovered Price's law. He was studying the output of published papers by PhD students. He found the majority of students only published one paper, the minimum requirement. Half of the number of students that published one paper published two. Half of those published 3, and so on. Charting this output creates an upward ramp of a graph known as a Pareto distribution. The graph illustrates Price's law, which is the square root of the total number of people in any given domain do half the work. Which means if you have a company of 10 people, 3 do half the work. The company grows to 100 people, 10 do half the work. Scale to 10,000 people, 100 do half the work. The law shows that competence grows linearly and incompetence grows exponentially.
In Price's law, it says that square root of the number of people working in an organization or in a project or a domain do 50% of the total work. Let me explain by an example. Let's say एक startup है 10 लोगों का. In that, there are 3 people who are doing 50% of the work, and the rest 7 people are doing the rest 50% of the work. Now take 10,000 इट्स नॉट ए बिग डिफरेंस है ना। 10 कंपनी में ठीक है, 3 लोग में भी को फाउंडर होंगे, ऑब्वियसली उनकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ज्यादा है, तो वो बहुत ज्यादा काम कर रहे हैं। ओके, सीम्स रीजनेबल, सेंसिबल है। नाउ लेट्स टेक a 10,000 people company. Only 100 people are doing 50% of the total work that is done by the entire organization, and the rest 9,900 are managing the 50% of the work. In that scale, would you say it's fair? Of course, it's not fair. And because these 100 people have a much higher contribution within the organization, they get paid more, they are given more responsibilities, they are held accountable for the number of projects that they have under them. इसी वजह से हायरार्कीज एग्जिस्ट करती हैं। नाउ एक बात है, और यहां पे आई थिंक इस पे मैं सबसे ज्यादा एम्फेसाइज करना चाहूंगा, विच इज अकाउंटेबिलिटी। Accountability is basically you saying that, you know what, this project is done under my name. I'm going to be responsible for the budget. I'm going to be responsible for the hiring. I'm going to be responsible for its completion. और तुम यहां पे ना ये कोई आर्ग्यूमेंट नहीं प्रेजेंट कर सकते कि ये प्रॉब्लम आ गई तो तुम किसी को ब्लेम कर दो, बिकॉज दैट्स द थिंग। अगर आप जो है ना किसी भी ऑफिस में काम करते हैं, या फिर अगर आप अभी कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स हैं, उसमें भी प्रोजेक्ट होता है, कुछ लोग आपको मिलेंगे जो सिर्फ एक दूसरे को ब्लेम करेंगे, बट द पर्सन हु एक्चुअली विशेस टू बिकम अ लीडर, दैट पर्सन हैज टू बिकम, यू नो, से ये मेरी प्रॉब्लम है, आई विल टेक ओनरशिप एंड आई विल रेक्टिफाई इट, एंड दैट्स हाउ, यू नो, यू गेट इलेक्टेड एज अ लीडर, you are, you know, you become a self-appointed leader within the organization, and that's why autonomously hierarchies come into existence. You can't do anything about it. People autonomously, you know, start to create hierarchy or some structure of hierarchy within these organizations, और उसको तुम नहीं डिनाई कर सकते। Now let's take one other case जहां पे जो है ना शायद से आप बोलें कि ना flat hierarchies work कर सकती हैं। So let's take a startup. At startup level, everyone has a varied level of responsibilities. Okay, everyone is multitasking. They're handling marketing, they're handling sales. Like one person itself is handling both marketing and sales. One person is handling the entire graphic design for all sorts of things, design for all the things. One person is looking after, you know, the tech and the product. But as the company scales, they need some kind of a process in place, with जिसकी वजह से जो है ना उस process की वजह से ही आप देख सकेंगे कि जो है ना इसकी growth कहाँ पे है. There are metrics lined within the organization कि जो है ना, okay, design team, what are you doing? उसकी growth कैसे जा रही है? Sales team, how is your growth? Are your targets are being met or not? Product team, is the product developed? Are we at a good stage? Are customers accepting the product? So there are multiple people hired, multiple different departments are made, and each department is given their designated head. That's how, you know, every organization functions when they actually, you know, reach a scale of becoming a corporate or an organization. Let's इस organization में जब ये scale हो गई, someone new joined in, they would automatically would want to look up to someone within that department who is most experienced or most skilled. And it's not because they, you know, they are fan of them or something like that, they want to follow them. It's just their own internal metric which they are able to score themselves against. They create a good and bad metric within which they score themselves. They try to identify how they are going to perform within the organization. So they would want to, you know, reach for the best. And the one who is most skilled and most experienced is often the head. So that's why people, you know, try to align themselves with their bosses or their heads or the VPs of companies. And this is the core reason why hierarchies are supposed to exist. I hope this video actually, you know, gave you an insight कि कैसे organizations work करती हैं, why hierarchies are important, और कि how you can grow within the organization, like by taking ownership, by, you know, accepting that this is my mistake, हाँ मेरी गलती हुई है, या saying कि जो है ना I have done good, और अपनी टीम को क्रेडिट देना खुद को. That's how you become a leader in the organization. I hope this video helped. मैं मिलूँ आपसे next time. Tada. Bye bye.